You are listening to Reddit to Speech Stories. Welcome back, viewers, ladies, gentlemen, non-binaries and anyone with ears or other sound detection organs. Hope you enjoy. We are continuing with Doom Guy Isekai by Angry Spider.
Chapter 44, Doom vs. Wrath. The soldier approached the giant wall and appraised it with some interest, stepping over the rubble of the houses he'd been tossing at it. It was a well-made wall, he had to admit. It was at least 10 feet thick and probably more, but the decoration on the outside spanned the entire length, and he hadn't seen a repeating pattern yet. It largely featured demons ruling over humans, stabbing humans, torturing humans, etc. Despite its gory subject, all of the art was incredibly detailed, down to the wrinkles on an old woman's face as she was impaled in the gut. With a slight shrug, the soldier stood back and summoned the BFG. Daisy and Isabel promptly sprinted in the opposite direction, and Tagrel looked at them in confusion. What is it? I mean, sure, it's a big gun, but it's not like it's going to blow through the glorious epitaph. I mean, it's a wall that's stood for. The soldier fired the BFG directly into the wall, at a distance of approximately 30 feet. The detonation washed over him like a tsunami of green flame and heat, a searing, roiling wave of sheer destruction. Tagrel was literally vaporized by the blast, reduced to a puff of red and black dust blown away by the wind. The explosion removed a massive chunk from the wall and obliterated the houses underneath the soldier's feet, knocking him to his back. Once the dust cleared away and the soldier got back to his feet, he was satisfied to see a sizable gap near the back of the hole the BFG had made. The wall was quite a lot thicker than he'd anticipated, easily 50 feet thick. He wondered what could have been outside that warranted a wall that large, and then heard a rapidly approaching roar of fury. No, he realized as a fist hit him in the face and launched him away, the wall was not there to keep something out. It was there to keep Wrath in. It took the soldier a moment to figure out what orientation he was supposed to have, and managed to get his feet aimed downwards after a moment. Hurtling backward through the air, the soldier aimed downward and fired his grappling hook, latching onto the ground. It redirected his incredible momentum and sent him straight down, slamming into the rocks and creating twin craters. He didn't bother bending his knees, and sprinted forward at maximum speed, blitzing through the houses instead of avoiding them. Bursting through the side of a particularly expensive-looking mansion, he took in the whole situation. Wrath was quite a lot larger than he'd expected, easily 15 feet tall. Aside from the absurdly exaggerated musculature and short, spiked horns, he otherwise looked a lot like most of the demons the soldier had been fighting. He wore a helmet decked with bolts, strapped onto his head, and a simple leather loincloth. That was pretty much it. Wrath approached Daisy with his head lowered like a bull, fists knuckling the ground as his entire physique rippled with muscle. Nose flaring, he looked around wildly and locked onto the leapery. With a snarl, he dug into the ground and launched forward. Tagrel came out of nowhere with a chunk of rock and smashed it into the side of Wrath's head with a shout, despite the fact that the piece crumbled immediately. The soldier ignored the fact that Tagrel had already respawned and went straight for Wrath. For his part, the Sin slowly turned to Tagrel with a growl, gradually increasing in volume as he stood to his full height. The soldier jumped into the air, leaned backward, and drop-kicked Wrath in the back of the skull with all the force and precision of a bullet train. There was an audible crunch as the Sin went down, legs hurtling over his head as he tumbled forward. Tagrel gazed at the soldier with an expression of absolute bewilderment, and possibly a tinge of concern. Doom. He gets stronger from anger. Don't get angry. Well, that was stupid. Utterly ignoring him, the soldier stomped forward with eyes blazing, summoning double crucibles as Wrath got to his feet, shaking his head dazedly. Wrath had punched the soldier to no effect, and now the soldier had kicked Wrath to no effect. As far as the soldier was concerned, now was the time to break the tie and just rip and tear the demon to smaller pieces than could be counted. With a snarl of fury, Wrath rose to his feet and raised his claws to the sky. A pair of phantom claws appeared around his hands, much longer than the real deal and made from white flame. Weapons in hand, Wrath sprinted across the ground towards the soldier, keeping low to the ground. The soldier had been waiting for Wrath to attack. Snapping the crucibles upward, he caught Wrath's flaming claws across both blades, skidding backward from the force. Gritting his teeth as he felt his boots dig trenches through the ground, he braced himself. Slowing to a stop as they crashed through houses and buildings, Roth's talons scrabbled for grip. The Sin's eyes creased in confusion as he realized that his strength was failing him, and the soldier grinned. Switching to a reverse grip, the soldier deflected the claws and shot forward, headbutting the demon. Stumbling, Roth squinted in the soldier's direction. Discarding the crucibles, the soldier jumped and slammed his helmet into Roth's face once again, cracking the Sin's helmet. As he staggered backward, the soldier repeatedly used his head as a weapon, crashing his helmet into the Sin's face over and over again. After the sixth time, the soldier spun around, summoned the super shotgun, and blasted Roth in the chest. The Sin's feet left the ground as he was bodily hurled backwards, a gigantic section of his torso blown away by the power of the super shotgun. The soldier reloaded, walked forward, and fired again. The blast went straight through this time, and Roth collapsed in a heap of meat. The soldier grunted in satisfaction. As with envy, that had been easier than he'd expected. Roth stood up. The soldier blinked as the Sin got to his feet, panting hard from the exertion. The colossal wound in his chest closed up, flesh and guts sewing themselves back together and fusing back into seamless crimson skin. An ever-increasing crash of rage hit the soldier as his hands squeezed into fists, the super shotgun dissolving into mana. Screw this demon. Screw whatever skills and perks he had that let him do that. Screw all of hell, while he was at it. When were the demons going to learn that the soldier's will was greater than everything? He had already slain thousands of them. He'd made them fear death. He had slain demons with such frequency and glee that the universe itself acknowledged it. So why wouldn't these demons just lie down and die? He paced forward in frightening silence, sparks igniting and dissipating around his armor as he walked towards the recovering Roth. Going from a walk to a jog to a deadly sprint, the soldier shot forward like a bullet from a gun and punched Roth. Roth caught the punch. The soldier looked at the giant hand wrapped around his fist, and Roth grinned. Didn't you hear? You get mad, I get stronger, idiot. Raising the soldier into the air, Roth slammed him into the ground. A wave of rock peeled outward from the impact point, curling outwards and collapsing in a heap of rubble. Still holding onto the soldier's arm, Roth lifted him and repeatedly smashed him into the rock over and over, laughing raucously as he did. The soldier was ignoring it entirely. He had no idea how high of a counter, blood of thy enemies, was at by now, but he knew it was high enough that it was fully cancelling whatever damage he was taking from the hits. His mind was on what Roth had just said. He called the soldier an idiot. As Roth raised the soldier into the air for the 10th time, the soldier summoned the BFG, aimed at Roth's face, and fired. The blast of green erupted from the barrel of the colossal weapon and struck Roth full in the eyes, detonating with a brilliant shockwave of energy. Roth released the soldier as he was hurled backward, and the soldier landed on his feet. His visor was tinted green from the BFG's blast, but it was already clearing. Quite the improvement from the first time he'd fired it in this world. He started walking forward, hefting the incredible weapon and tossing it from hand to hand. Scrabbling to his feet, Roth's scarred and fleshless head turned around blindly, his jaw hanging on by the smallest string of meat. Somehow, the Sin spoke, his vocal cords rattling in his throat. "WHH, what sort of weapon is that?" His entire torso was seared white, massive strands of veined muscle burned away from the explosion. It was healing quickly, but not nearly fast enough. The soldier dismissed the BFG, replacing it with the crucible once again. He hefted the blade two-handed, checking its relatively minimal weight easily. Roth's face and horns finally reformed, his eyes squinted in pain. "You are quite the warrior. But so long as you have anger, I will never." The soldier decapitated him.
End of chapter. If you enjoyed, like, subscribe, click the bell so you don't miss any episode and do all the other YouTube stuff. Visit and support the author, all the relevant links are in the doobly-doo, and comment your opinions, good or bad. And I'll see you next time. And as usual, have a wonderful day.